In a world reshaped by disruption and driven by innovation, one summit has stood at the forefront of transformation: the Times Group ET Now Global Business Summit. Since 2015, this prestigious platform has brought together the brightest minds, visionary leaders, policymakers, and global pioneers to chart the course of business and society. With India's Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi as a guiding force, GBS has ignited bold conversations, unveiling groundbreaking strategies that drive progress and prosperity. As GBS 2025 takes center stage under the theme Evolve, Emerge, Expand, the world's foremost thought leaders explored the seismic shifts shaping the global economy and shed light on how can nations adapt. How can businesses thrive? How do we expand possibilities in an interconnected world? This is where the future is reimagined. The 9th edition of the Global Business Summit was graced by the Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi. The event also witnessed the presence of heavyweight politicians like Minister of Commerce and Industry, Shri Piyush Goyal, Minister of Communication and Development of North-Eastern Region, Shri Jyotiraditya Scindia. In this episode, witness industry stalwarts like Anil Arora from Ace Insurance Brokers and Deepak Rai from BOOTES Impex Tech opined on the most pertinent topics during thought-provoking panel discussions and presentations and industry roundtable.
I'd like to thank the team of Ace Insurance Brokers being a part of this very interesting segment.
In an industry-driven roundtable discussion, Anil Arora, Director Ace Insurance Brokers, stated that the insurance sector safeguards against risks, ensuring financial stability. He opined how Ace Insurance Brokers, with over 2 decades of experience, is driving this transformation through innovative risk strategies, strengthening economic resilience and securing the future. Here are glimpses from his session.
In your view and in your industry, what do you think are the most significant disruptions impacting, and how are you addressing them?
When we talk of disruptions, I think if we are talking about the insurance industry per se, I would say recently a product known as surety bonds has recently come into the market. What Sir was addressing was that, okay, all the treasury costs, the availability of funds, largely depends on how efficiently you're using your funds. So surety bond, I think, has been one of the disruptors in the industry.
Value and ethics are very important here. You lose out, you might be winning for a short time, but that winning won't give you permanent gains. Yeah.
When we see ourselves as the service providers, service of connecting people, connecting devices, we see this cyber risk which is emerging, right? And currently, the way insurance policies are drafted in India, not really true-blood all-risk named exclusions policy. So I think somewhere we need to get into simplification of the product.
May I add something to what Jimmy said? I 100% agree with him that the businesses cannot be run around the insurance policies, but insurance policies can definitely be designed around the business the way it is done. And I think there are products now available, and the insurance market has always been very supportive and always been very agile to the requirements. And I'm sure you will find answers to your problems. I can assure you that from our side.
As your requirements change, so your products also will change. So that is the most important thing. One has to understand that the requirements are, as the person gets the pinch of it, that's where the solution has to be found to ensure that there is a solace that comes for that particular problem.
Any other viewpoints, or do you agree? What part of the room agrees that we need more disruptions? Disruptions are not good enough.
What is disruption? Is just basically, innovating. Because when they started their own businesses, at whatever point of time, they were called disruption. That was disruptive. Yeah. But, they had to innovate over a period of time, and people who could not, I think they basically could not move forward. So I basically feel disruption is nothing but, innovation, which we have to keep doing all the time.
So that's the VUCA word which we live in, and disruption is a table stake out there. So it's not about more or less disruption, it's about disruption is a way of life. So that disruption only does lead to innovation, as you rightly suggested.
Disruption has been made because there has been a lot of technology. Now AI is coming up. Now that's another hit on this. So you're seeing we are going to a different level. You need not do anything, people understand, I don't know, people were going and taking bath in Ganga without anybody being present there. Imagine the technology is making you available where you are not even there.
This consumer perception of the product and the consumer perception of the experience to us is the biggest disruptor. We have still not figured what is the best way to manage. We try our best on a day-to-day basis to try to make it happen. But to a small extent, probably technology can play a role. It helps us in making sure that we understand a consumer expectation or a consumer experience faster. The core stays the same. Make your customer happy, keep him or her at the center, and keep your ears and eye open.
We worked in such a way, you converted those challenges into an opportunity. Now those opportunities now turning on the ground. So that's and internally, now the challenge is the internal.
Technology hasn't come with its disadvantages. It's how well can you adapt to the nuances of the technology? How well can you try and educate yourself and the public in general, and especially our employees, as to what to believe in and what not to believe in?
The way the technology is changing, from 4G to 5G, it was not a 10% increase in the speed, it was probably 100 times over, right? And the next 6G could be not 100 times over, maybe 1,000 times more speed. So you can imagine where the things would be, and once these basic infrastructure is moving at a pace, there would be options on disrupting the businesses as well. Without internet, Uber would not have taken birth, right? Without development of electric cars, the way batteries are improving, they're changing the way things operate. So I guess it's a matter of time when the technology moves other innovation. It promotes other innovations as well.
Great. With that eventual sentence, I think we'll close the discussion today. I think we had some really interesting viewpoints come in. So thank you very much.
We're here on the sidelines of the Global Business Summit 2025, and I'm in conversation with Anil Arora, Director of ACE Insurance Brokers. So thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us.
Thanks for having me over here.
So the Honorable Prime Minister has time and time again told us about his vision for a Viksit Bharat. What role do you anticipate that the insurance sector will play in that broader vision?
It's very important for insurance sector to really align with the vision of the Prime Minister, and I think IRDA, which is the regulator, has already come out with a plan which has been published as well, whereby they intend to ensure that every person is insured by 2047.
Universal coverage pan-India.
Yes, be it life insurance with accident, or could be household insurance or a business insurance.
Sure.
You cannot really have a Viksit Bharat without everybody having that security, because that's the only form of, we don't have social security
right.
as of now to that extent. So it's very important for everyone to have the security.
And be a beneficiary of that vision.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Well, Anil, if I could take it a step further, if I could talk about ACE Insurance Brokers more specifically, when we talk about a universal coverage of insurance, right, wherein every single person, irrespective of socioeconomic strata in this country, is insured, right, that means that ACE Insurance Brokers has, big mountains to climb and an uphill battle ahead of it.
Sure.
Right? What are some of your top priorities? How do you go about addressing them, and in what time frame?
See, yes, as insurance brokers, we do have responsibility. I would say there are three pillars of insurance. One is the insured, I would say III. Insured,
sure.
Insurer, and the intermediary.
Right.
So we are the intermediaries. So the regulator has already, like I mentioned in their vision document, very clearly started working in that direction. They've already started making laws, ease of business, making processes simpler to register the insurance companies.
Right.
Giving them, certain regulatory changes which allow PE funds to have an SPV or a subsidiary to even own an insurance company. Giving a lot of relief to the investors.
Of course.
Earlier it was one investor could invest 10% or jointly 25%. Now investors can go up to 25% individually and 50% on aggregate without being promoters of the company.
Okay.
The requisite capital on some of the mono product companies is being reduced.
Sure.
Similarly, the regulator is making way for reach, the distribution as well. And there is a concept of corporate agents, which is earlier one corporate agent was allowed to represent 3 companies. Now they made it 9 companies.
Excellent.
Right?
Right.
Because it's not possible for the current infrastructure to reach out, because our penetration of insurance is so low right now.
I think it's shy of 5%, and that also largely
Much
driven by the
lesser.
life insurance sector.
Yes, and in fact, as a percentage of the GDP spend, it's around 1%, which is a very, very small amount.
Right.
So use of technology, making things easier for the intermediaries, making things easier for the insurers would be a big step, which I think the regulator is showing the right intent right now. So similarly for us also, we've started investing in technology. We think technology only will provide us the answer, to reach out 140 crore people. Humanly it's not possible. So we are finding better distribution models, ways of distributing, and we're preparing ourselves. So we're pretty well equipped with all our technological tools to deliver, and we continuously are investing into that.
Excellent. Now, Anil, you brought up the fact that penetration rates for insurance in this country are staggeringly low, right? Can you shed more light on how that increase in penetration accelerates economic growth and development? Because I believe the relationship is sometimes poorly understood.
See, the penetration shows that a lot of people are not insured.
Right.
Right. And in the absence, insurance provides a lot of social security. Right. Today, you find people living in cities. We cannot think of not having a health insurance.
Right.
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 So why should majority of the people not have access to health insurance? Right. So, or have you be able to spend money on either saving their businesses, getting back to businesses sooner than, so they lose out much more than they need to kind of spend.
Sure.
We've seen some of the large schemes by the government on, say, agriculture. The government spend has come down by 40% ever since the insurance companies have stepped in and managing those. And we have earlier about 28% people, farmers are insured. Today 42% of farmers are insured.
There is
So
progress.
that gives them a lot of security, right? So it's very important. In case of devastation, or we've had a lot of flood situations,
Acts
earthquakes,
of God, right?
acts of God, where we find the losses are colossal, but the insured losses are very minimal.
Sure.
So what happens to the rest of the people?
Right. There's a huge protection gap.
Yeah. So I think from that perspective, it's very important for this insurance penetration to improve.
Well, Anil, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us, and we wish you and the larger ACE Insurance Brokers team all the continued success, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate that.
Next in line was a very inspiring presentation where Deepak Rai, Managing Director and CEO at BOOTES Impex Tech, opined about how BOOTES turned a bold vision into a scalable blueprint for net zero construction in India, proving that sustainability and speed can coexist.
Today we stand here for defining moment in our development journey. As one of the fastest growing economy in the world, we are adding infrastructure at an exponential rate. By 2050, over 600 million Indians will live in cities, and demand for buildings, transport, and energy will skyrocket. So it's an opportunity, and same side is a big problem if we will not solve this. But here's the reality. 35% of our energy used for buildings, 40% CO2 emission coming through the buildings, and energy demand till 2040 is more than double. And we are talking about the buildings only. We are not saying about the data centers. We are not saying about the cold storage. So many things is coming. Transportation system. 2050 is too far. 2070 is too late. The time is to act is now. At BOOTES, we don't see sustainability as an option. We see it an engineering challenge that must be solved today with speed, scale, and innovation. Bharat has committed to net zero by 2070. This is not only a policy target, it's an economic necessity. By 2040, India's energy demand will double. But how we meet this demand will define our net zero journey. India must transit from incremental sustainability to systematic transformation. The biggest question, how to do? So we have 3 pillars. First is transforming construction. For transforming construction from carbon heavy to carbon neutral, we have to go. India is adding 700 to 900 million square meter of urban space every year, equivalent to building a new Chicago every year. If we continue using traditional carbon-heavy method, we will lock in emission for decades. I am here to prove that net zero is not just a vision. It's an engineering challenge that can be solved today. India cannot rely on centralized grid. We need decentralized, off-grid, Atmanirbhar solutions, especially in 2 key areas. First, slum and rural area where energy property still exists. Second, high demand area like cold storage and data centers. If we do this right, India can leapfrog legacy system and become the world leader in self-sustaining net zero communities. We are doing first net zero cold storage because in India, 40% food got waste due to poor handling of temperature control environment. So we are doing this. By 2050 in Viksit Bharat, over 80% of buildings that will exist in India are already built. That means if we only focus on new construction, we will fail to reach net zero. So that brings me the 3rd pillar of transformation, retrofitting existing infrastructure toward the world-class net zero hubs. It's brown to green. Now I'm showing you one interesting fact. The world is going to build more infrastructure in next 30 years than in last 6,000 years. So the question is, will we build if sustainable or will we accelerate the climate crisis? As an industries, we have 2 choices. Continue business as usual or build net zero now. Net zero is not just about cutting emission, it's about creating a circular Atmanirbhar economy. The nation that builds sustainable today will dominate the global tomorrow. The choice we make today will determine whether India lead net zero transition or follow it. That's it. Thank you very much.
And we're here at the sidelines of the Global Business Summit 2025, and I'm in conversation with Deepak Rai, the Managing Director and CEO of BOOTES Impex Tech. So thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
So to my understanding, BOOTES has of course created the world's first net zero library in the city of Jhansi. Tell us more about why this is such a milestone that the world is eyeing.
Firstly, the location where we deliver is in remote of the metro cities.
Absolutely.
And Jhansi is far from here. And we want to show like sustainability and technology, not only like for luxury segment or like it's not should be like not available for everyone. So that was the prime scenario what we consider. Second, this library dedicated to so many children, and some children is not have capability to buy these type of experiences. So that was the thing. And second, that library technically this is the first library who is generating 100% electricity on site, and on operation is a cut down 85% carbon emission. So through IFC is a World Bank group, and they certified Asia's highest efficient building. So we got the H certificate. No building in Asia, including China and Japan. So we feel proud like we deliver India.
Well, we certainly salute your efforts, but a follow-up question there is that the hard fact of the matter remains that it's incredibly difficult to essentially balance profitability and economic growth on the one hand with sustainability on the other. How do you strike that balance?
I think it's as simple as a mindset. how you considering a profitability. Like from my point of view, sustainable is more profitable because it's terms of the long term.
Sure.
When you think for the short term, like then you can say like it's a high cost, because when you paying little bit initial cost high, but you are getting long term benefits.
Right.
So like we have numbers, if you're running the buildings 24/7,
sure,
the ROI in within 1.5 years, whatever the extra you are paying. But advantage for environment, advantage for the users, and advantage for the country is a use. So I think it's a sustainable construction is far cheaper than the construction what we are doing.
Well, Deepak, you brought up mindset.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter remains that there's an age-old mindset that sustainability is someone else's responsibility. It's not our responsibility. So how does one essentially begin to even invoke a change in that broad, deep-seated mindset that we've now come to terms with almost?
I'm just sharing with you, like it's in a business where you want to go.
Right.
It's a independent decisions. Like if I want to go and sustain my business for long term, I have to take the path of sustainability. If I'm not taking the path, somehow I'm on the high risk. Like we are developing countries, and slowly, if we're going for world second or third number, you can say economy of the world, then we will consume more energy, right? Otherwise not possible.
Right.
So if our business is not sustainable from sustainability side, this means we are taking the biggest risk. I'm giving you some of the example.
Please.
Like ESG compliance is coming. You think like this, you are making a commercial building today. You are the, you can say the big brand of the corporate buildings, you are making construction, but it's not a net zero sustainable.
Right.
Your clients are coming from the Europe and US, and they say, oh, your building is not net zero sustainable. We cannot come because their compliance is not fulfilled.
Right.
So you are in the high risk if you are not developing today this.
Well, considering these factors, you know, some are macroeconomic, some are microeconomic, how do you believe they will influence the future of net zero buildings in India?
I think there's no other way. It's not an option. We don't have choice because you are seeing, I think this year air quality everybody know.
Right.
Right. We are growing very fast. Urbanization in India going very fast. In 10 years, it will go drastically high. Then you need lots of power.
Sure.
Right. And the power coming from the coal, or you know, we don't have renewable energy for that level.
Right.
This means we are in the trap, because then more pollution, more consumption, and somehow we will lose lots of economy based on this, because you know how environment are reacting, right? So everybody know this.
Right.
So I think we have to act on this. Yeah.
Well, sir, if we're going to act on it, it's going to require the public sector and the private sector to work in tandem.
Yeah.
So what more would you like to see by way of government support, such that net zero construction is further incentivized in this country?
I think government can make the only policies, and they can guide, because only through government is not possible.
Right.
From my point of view, I always say sustainability should come from the bottom.
Sure.
If the end user and everybody, if we are not consuming less, we are not consuming sensefully, then government cannot do, because how much money government spend. So this is just a mindset, and I think government and private players, they have to start on each action to considering the sustainable side. That's the only way.
Very inspiring to hear that, very heartening words indeed, and we wish you a very successful Global Business Summit 2025. We applaud all that you do, Mr. Rai. We wish you all the continued success.
Thank you very much. Thank you.